The shot from Espinoza! Goal!
You know, growing up in Honduras, pretty much that's the number one sport. Soccer is the sport, and when you're a little kid, all you want to do is play games. And you know, my parents were very good to me. They were obviously allowing me to do all these sports, be outside a lot. And so my memories of Honduras is just being this hot, how we are right now, and a little more tropical, the beach around not too far away, and a lot of soccer going on. So my involvement comes from there. Everybody in the neighborhood playing street soccer, older, younger. Majority of my memories as that, not so much at school, right? I didn't like school as much, but other than that, I do remember playing a lot of soccer and being in Honduras, and not playing competitive, but playing street, and then moving to the United States after that, at 11 years old.
How would you say that style of street soccer influenced the way that you played?
A lot, because it's all based on actions. It's all based on actions, not so much thinking of, you know, like you got to make this pass. Everything is just very proactive on the game right there, you know. And so for me, it was amazing because you learn all your basics, your moves, where to turn. The field's not so great. The ball bounce here. You have to adjust to the bounce. You're barefooted, so you create all that, like, you know, all the movement, all the strength in your legs. And so for me, I would say that was a great way to start.
Were there organized soccer teams you had to pay for there, or was it all kind of just on your own? Did you get scouted from a?
It's a third world country, so there's not so much paying. There's not paying at all, but I wouldn't say it was as organized. It was pretty much street. They was organized until the certain levels that you make it. But the problem is, I would say at the time, you know, there's only one level that you make it, and the other levels you didn't make it, you're kind of done. Now it's more organized. There's level for everybody. Back then you made it to the academy and that was it. You cannot make it any more past that. But it was free.
So what level did you end up making it to there before you moved to the chance?
So competitive doesn't start over there until like 13 years old. So I moved to the United States when I was 11, and I came here to play competitive at 11. So I only played pretty much in my school. There was a little bit of competitive, but it was not organized. It was just playing against the other schools, but it was just playing. It was just someone put the team together and you just play. It was not organized. You play many leagues or that. So for that part, to be honest, I wasn't there to play the competitive side mostly. Teams, yeah.
So now,
here,
how old were you when you made that move?
I was 11 years old when I moved to the United States, and that's when I first got my first competitive team that traveled around the United States and played locally in the state to try to qualify to either regionals, trying to win a state cup, trying to go play tournaments, college showcases, or you name it.
Yeah. Obviously you said you came here at 11. Can you talk to us about that transition? Did you speak English? How was it coming into a new environment? What state did you come into?
Yeah, zero English. So that was some tough time because there was not much soccer at the beginning. The language also to communicate and all that was difficult. But you know, a little bit over time it got better and better. But I say those first 6 months to a year were the most difficult ones in the United States.
And so you were playing club soccer, obviously in Colorado, and then as you got older, did you play high school soccer?
So I played club soccer, yes. I got to the time that you go to be a freshman in high school at the time. There was not so much academies. So you finish your season, and in the fall, you start high school soccer all the way till November. And so you play only high school soccer. So I played freshman year all the way to my senior year. I played all high school in the fall, and then club starting again in the winter all the way till the summer. Yeah.
And then obviously you're talking about you played there for 4 years. Coming around to the time where you're looking to obviously play in college, how did that process go for you? Was cost a factor?
Yes, so once you get into the age about 15, I would say 16, your team mainly focuses on going to a lot of showcases around the country. And so you go from tournaments at the time, the Score at the Shore, which is in New York, or all over the East Coast. You go to the Nike Friendlies, which is in Florida. Surf Nomad, which is in the West Coast. You also have regionals, you have ODP, and you have region team. Got to play in all those, Class didn't know much because I didn't get to pay. My parents didn't get to pay either because I was lucky enough to get a scholarship for my club team, and so I had the scholarship. Could my parents afford it? Probably not, but I was lucky and a little bit talented on that part, so I got the rewards from that. Some of the parents paid, some of them, other kids that were from the inner city in my club, about 2 other, we all got scholarship funds. And we also did there was like a charity event where you get to go like bingo, and you do the bingo, you hand the cards out, and you pretty much the bingo actually give some to the club charity, which is kind of what we're also trying to do a little bit, where they bring the clubs, we kind of add to their charities instead of for every kid that signs up. But for me, mainly was I got a scholarship, so I was lucky enough to get a scholarship from playing soccer at my club and some charity events that we got to work with my parents. And for college, I went to junior college, so it was not very costly in the junior college. And there's FAFSA is called, so my parents were able to be part of that because of the low income. And the college was very generous too, to give a lot of the Hispanic and minority guys a scholarship through the school funds. It also is to mention that it was a native school, although I'm not Native American, but it's a native school, so they have a lot of funds there for the students that come there. And it was Yavapai College in Arizona. And then I went there for 2 years, and I was able to go to the Ohio State University, and there was not a scholarship there. So I've been fortunate enough to not have to pay, but you do have to look for those things. I don't think a lot of people was fortunate like I was.
How was the process of getting recruited to both of those at a high school?
At a high school, it was just I went to a tournament in Arizona. Wasn't getting very highly recruited to a D1, but I knew that this school was very good. And for me, I just wanted to play. I played for a small club called Colorado Storm, so it wasn't a big club, and so it was very hard to do. Although I went to all these tournaments, we didn't do very well, but I got the exposure and I got the experience to it. For that, college were able to watch me there, and then when I went to junior college, you play also big tournaments, and so a lot of colleges go to watch that because of the maturity that players have for those 2 years in college. And they also, I think, now that you think about it, they don't have to pay 4 years to a guy to come there or anything. They just can give 2 guys 2 years. You come into a junior year and your senior year, you play, you help, you mature, and so for me that was a very easy transition.
On those scholarships that help you get from one level to really the next level, that's what our organization does with those tournaments. We give out scholarships to players, and that's what you guys do here, giving them the chance to go to the next level, right? So I was just wondering, this is something that we'll promote on our stuff. Can you kind of just touch on the importance of having opportunities like that?
It is very important, obviously, because not everybody has the sources to go to a camp or to go to college. All that, I think, is just having awareness. I think all the funding is there because we are in the United States. I think there's plenty of funding in this country. It's just creating the resources for kids to do that. Like I said earlier, I was able to have it. Fortunately, that I ended up at a club team where parents were aware of that, and where the club was aware of that. So it's just creating those scholarships for that. And like I spoke earlier, we're trying to do it with clubs. Our goal is to do that, and we actually are going to do it too. We're creating a camp with Merco with the inner city kids too. So that is in the talks. Obviously, you have to work hard for that. You have to create a name for yourself in order to create that credibility. And there are places in Kansas City and clubs that are doing that right now. It's just creating the awareness of that, and you guys are a perfect example of that. It's creating the awareness where you necessarily don't have to be providing, but know that it's out there, this is going on. I mean, I think we're in the United States. There's a lot of funding. I think people wants to do that, wants to help. So for me, it's just creating the awareness on that part, and even the cities would go to get involved too.
Would you say it was an integral part of allowing you to get to where?
100%, because if I didn't have the funding and all the support behind me, then that would not have been possible, because I would not have been able to play club. I would not have been able to go to this tournament. I would not have been able to go to college. So it is an integral part, because at the time soccer wasn't as big, but it's getting bigger and bigger, and a lot of kids in certain areas that maybe the income is not the level that we want it to be. You're missing those athletes in the United States, and but it's getting there, and hopefully with your help and people's helps, that can get there, because there's a lot of kids here that want to play.
Now this obviously relates to a lot of guys that come to our tournaments. We're all in the college age group. Obviously, now we're moving into the professional game. Can you tell us a bit about what were you doing in those summers during your college years? What was that transition like? What do you think set you apart? And what would you recommend for those guys trying to make that transition from college to the pro level?
Like I said earlier, I was talking to the kids, and obviously there's many paths, right? And the primary thing you got to do is obviously you have to love the sport, right? And so once you do that, you're willing to do everything. You're willing to stay disciplined, train inside and out. Training, watching games, that's part of your training. Playing in your backyard, that's part of the training. Going to the available camps or what's available for you also can facilitate for you to be viewed by coaches and create a better game for you. So for me, there's many ways and many paths to get around. Some is through high school, some is through clubs, some is playing at a men's game, and you never know, someone is always watching, right? Someone is always watching, and that would come to your competition, but you always gotta be playing, because the path will come that way. My path was obviously going to college, other paths is going through academy, other paths is going to junior college, high school. So there's many ways to it. I think you just can't give up, because there'll be a way where you end up playing at a tournament and you'll give you that way. Happens in many places in the world. So that is a way to do it. Sure.
See you tomorrow. And I'll call you later.
Okay, sounds good.
Our videographer guy will be here tomorrow to give a recap of the camp.
He will be here?
He will be here. As of now, he will be.
Okay, right. Because why is that the backup plan?
He had to go to the hospital, so yeah.
Alright.
Get an ear infection.
Yeah.
I called the guy from the last camp too.
Okay.
To come.
Alright. Alrighty.
Ask him about his career, like
Okay. Next question is, so for you, obviously you said everybody has different paths. How was that switch for you from college to pro? How did you make that transition? What occurred in your career?
To be fair, once when you're young, you don't think much about being a pro. You do. You always say, "Oh, I love like Ronaldinho. I love like Zidane. I love like Ronaldo. I love all these guys." You say, "I wish I'm that one day," but some way, and when you go through the high school college transition, you kind of forget about that, because you're a student athlete in the United States. So it's kind of like you start worrying about start having the college life, going to college. So for me, I kind of went to junior college, so kind of forgot about that a little bit, and I was having fun in college, and obviously being very disciplined, because I love the sport and I love playing, but not with the intent to obviously go pro, but the intent that I want to be as competitive as I can. I want to do well, and I want to beat the other team. I want to be better than my teammate. I want to be better than what I am today. I want to compete against these guys. And then I ended up going to a Division I, and then you start seeing that the closure is there. So you kind of start thinking about it. The food gets better, the facility gets better. So you start thinking, the coaches start planning this professional everyday thing, where like you treat you like a professional. They treat you like an athlete. You have your study hall, you have your facilities, you have a nutritionist, you have a equipment manager, you have all these things that cater to you, that only set the expectation for you to become a professional player. So from there, I think that's what set my mind to like, hey, I can do this, I can be a pro. So that was the path when I was like, oh, I can come back. But I never forgot, and I never disrespected the sport. I always stayed true to myself and where I wanted to be.
Before you ask that question, mindset's a really big thing. They can separate people. Mindset's, Pirlo said it's 90% of the game, right? Take us back to when you're in England, you're lifting up an FA Cup trophy. In that instance, did you ever reflect and be like, this is where I wanted to be, or I made it, or was it immediately on to the next thing?
At the moment, yes, you're super excited, you're happy, but mind you, 3 days later we got relegated, so I had to think about the game that it was coming, that we had to fight for. But in the moment, yeah, you go back to all that and you get very emotional because that was all the hard work and all the stuff you take true to yourself, all the training that you have no idea you're doing, but you're listening to coaches, you're listening to friends, family, some negative, some positive, but you always stay true to yourself to try and do the right things. So for me, yes, you have an emotional moment, but then it clicks. Now I'm thinking more about it. Then I'm older and I retire and thinking about all those moments that happened. But at the moment, you don't have time to think. You just go to the next. You know, when you're in college, you won, and then you think to the next game. And that's what you got to do because, you know, you're so high, you got to keep doing it because guess what? The next weekend you lose and you're way back down. It's almost like you didn't improve. So you have to keep improving and getting to the next level.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'll add to that, like that's probably true to any career that you have. Right?
Yeah.
If you want to be successful in it, that's the mindset.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Obviously,
Last question.
all right, never mind. All right, so obviously you played in 2 World Cups, 2010, 2014, played in the 2012 Olympics. We saw something online that said you scored a goal versus Brazil in the quarterfinal. Obviously got sent off with a red card, but you had a standing ovation.
What's new, right?
Take us through moments like that. What is that feeling? How do you feel representing your country?
Yeah, anytime at any level you get to represent your country, it's an amazing feeling, and it's what you strive for once you're in the pros. That's the next level. Once you're in college, you want to go professional. Once you're professional, then what's the next level? Is being the national team, you know, and making it to events like the Olympics. So for me, the Olympics was just such an event where all the athletes around the world, all the top athletes in every country go. So for me, it was trying to do things the right way, trying to do everything perfect, and you know, goals come because you create those opportunities. But you don't go in the game thinking that hey, you're going to score because of the position I was playing. But I was always trying to think like I'm going to do the best for my team to get at this level. And it happened that I was in the spot where I could shoot the ball, and you know, we were a man down at the time. It wasn't me yet; it was another Honduran guy. And so I got the opportunity to shoot. The ball went in. I just, you know, I couldn't believe it. I celebrated, and I was just happy that we had done that, you know. But we were a man down. I said we were working hard already. Was carrying a yellow card from the first half. It was difficult. We were trying to push the numbers up, and went against Oscar, which is an amazing player for Brazil. Did a little step over, kind of fall for it, and ended up clipping him. Second yellow, red card. At the time I thought the people was booing me, but it was actually they were supporting Honduras because we were the underdogs, and so they were showing support for our team there. So that was, I guess, the highlight of the Olympics for me. But I'm both. One was a sad part, and the other one was a happy part, scoring the goal. So, but yeah, great moments, great time, guys, and I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
You guys doing this. Yeah.